Hey guys, what's up? This is May here, coming at you after I finished 5th place at the Seattle Regional yesterday. As you can see, I got my top with MALISS. It's like one of the top 2 decks in the format, so like nothing crazy or whatever, nothing too impressive, but is the first regional I ever played in, so I'm pretty happy with that. I went 7-1. Only loss in Swiss was to Caspian. Shout out to my boy playing Pure Ryziel. He finished 2nd in the tournament, so sometimes you're just better. Sometimes you have Nib in game 3 going first. So I mean, what can I say? But in any case, I was originally going to play White Forest as a Fiendsmith going into this tournament. I've been practicing with it a lot the last few weeks, and I really like the deck, but I kind of came to this realization the other day, which was I realized that there's a lot of Shifter and Droll and Bestials and Nibiru and Molcharmies, and I thought, I'm not looking to lose to all these cards with this deck. And it doesn't matter how nice the inboard of this deck is, it's probably not worth playing, because even if you play it perfectly, you're just going to get varianced and lose, I think, with it. I just don't think it's the right format for it. So instead, I decided I'm going to do all the unfair things to people and play MALISS. So I played this deck on paper for the first time on Tuesday, and I won the locals I went to with it, so I figured, okay, it's probably not crazy for me to show up with this, and I finished 5th, so I can't complain. But anyways, I'll just go into the deck profile here and kind of go over my philosophy of how and why I play the deck I do. Because frankly, when this deck came out, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was just like a very glass cannon-y combo deck with frankly for me, I'm really dumb, so all these crazy terahertz lines and lines through Shifter where you're looping stuff with Firewall and all this nonsense that I was seeing in combo videos on the internet. And at a certain point I realized that the deck was starting to be played in a much more mid-rangey, low-to-the-ground way. I tried playing it that way a little bit online and with my friends playtesting, and I realized I really liked the way the deck felt all of a sudden, and it felt so much stronger and so much more resilient, and it actually could play non-engine that was really good and consistent. So I love this deck now. It plays a lot more the deck I was maining and doing really well with before was Fiendsmith Kashtira and just different Fiendsmith control variants. And I think from playing that, I learned that inboards don't matter, big wombo combos don't matter. All that matters is you win the game. So I feel like this deck might be the best position to do that in the format, even with stuff like Lancia and Charmies running around. But anyway, getting into it, we've got 3 Dormouse. It's the best starter in the deck. I don't need to explain that. You know how much it hurts to see this resolve. White Rabbit, it's a decent starter. The one thing that I'm not gonna be I innovated anything. I'm not that smart, but what I was doing with the deck a lot was when I was summoning this and I had a way to extend, especially if I had dropped Shifter already, a lot of the time I was actually setting MTP07 on my turn just to guarantee that I would get a banish on my opponent's turn with the follow-up, being able to search a monster for turn 3. And like I said, a lot of the time I was going Shifter, normal summon Dormouse, or activate whatever card gets me into my lines, playing this, setting the MTP07, and then going into Heart's Crypt or on summon 4 and passing. So you play under Nibiru, you've got at least 2 names in your banished for Heart's Cryptor to use both on your opponent's turn and your next turn for follow-up. And then the Rhoda Banish card just is great. It searches you the follow-up you need through Shifter since it can deplete your resources. And it just banishes any attempt your opponent might have to set up a board. So anytime I made that board, Heart's Cryptor passed with all that, I just won the game on the spot. And it was those 1 or 2 extra banishes are exactly what you need to maintain a Shifter board, I found. Speaking of which, I play 3 Chessy Cat. I don't know, like, if this is standard or not. I don't really pay attention. I think most people play, like, 2 or even less. My boy Wesley, like, played one of these, and I tried to tell him that was incorrect, and it is incorrect. You should be playing... I think you should be playing 3, especially if you're running Allure of Darkness, which I am, and I think you should, because that card's broken. And running Bestials, I'm running 7. I think that's maybe the minimum you should run. But when you run Bestials, they're just extra extenders. So this plus any extender, especially a Bestial, is just full combo. So in a deck that already has trouble bricking, why wouldn't you, like, run all the names that you could to get to starter plays? So yeah, I think 3 of this is, like, absolutely correct. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's absolutely correct. And then obviously 3 Malice and Underground plus Terraforming. Oh, this is like the same thing I said before. Like, I've seen some lists that don't play this, which that's wild to me. It's just extra starter extender that you often need, especially if you're not going into, like, Red Ransom, which I think I only summoned Red Ransom, like, once the entire tournament. And yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't get the deck building philosophy of some people, but I think it's good. 3 Allure of Darkness, obviously, because it's Pot of Greed and a special summon extender, which is crazy. This card is absolutely broken. I thought this on pre-release that, like, almost like the main reason to play this deck is to be able to play 3 of this. It's crazy. And then, of course, you got to play your gold rare, Gold Sarcophagus, because it's just a uninteractable starter or extender, which you'll love to see. And then for the traps, obviously just 1 of each. That's all you need. The new combos that you're going into now, obviously, most of the time you're going to set GWC 06 first, just because it helps you play around Nibiru before you get into Whitebinder. And then you can, like, set TB11 if you want to, like, set up, like, a Firewall or a Heart Scriptor play or whatever. And like I was saying, the one thing that I found I was doing a lot was going into MTP 07 on my turn as opposed to my opponent's turn, especially under Shifter, where it's like, okay, if you want any one of these cards on the field, it's probably going to be this one, just because of that extra interruption you can get. And I feel like that's not something you ever see in any of these, like, combo videos on the internet, especially for this deck. And I think especially when it comes to Malice, like, combo videos and, like, here's your 10 interruption board or whatever is absolute bait, and it is the worst way to learn this deck. I think the best way you could do it is to learn just playing kind of low to the ground with, like, really powerful non-engine. And if you feel like you need bigger boards after that to win, you can give it a try, I guess. But I didn't need to do anything beyond that almost any time. If I was able to, the way I see it, if you're able to, like, get to combo with any of this setup, you're already winning. So you don't need to do anything crazy. Then for the non-engine, shout out to my boy Dimension Shifter. You know, he's always come in clutch for me when I've been able to play him, and he's always cooked me when I play decks that don't like him. So what can I say? It's the best hand trap in the entire format. If you can play it, you should. And along with something like Allure, I think this is, like, the main reason you like to play this deck, because it's so good. In addition, the Bestials are insane. I played 7 of them in total, which is statistically incorrect. You should probably play 8, since that you're in a 40-card deck that'll... I mean, you average about 1, but I couldn't find the room for the other one, so I decided not to worry about it. And yeah, it worked out for me. Shout out to Rory at Card Exchange for giving me this for the deception I pulled at the store the other day. I finally got my third Druid Swarm after playing this game for like 8 months, so yeah, what can I say? These are crazy. These are amazing interruptions. I played this one Blue Eyes player in round 7, and I think all I had in my hand was Baldrake plus Druid Swarm, and I actually drew all 3 Malice traps, which, like, that's like a certified Master Duel hand right there. But all I did was just, like, banish like a Maiden and his Blue Eyes with these 2 cards, and then I drew Metaltronus for turn and negated his Spirit Dragon. And I think he got kind of tilted and he just scooped on the spot, which was really funny because I didn't have any way to play on my own turn. But I mean, hey, you know, I love decks that get my opponents tilted. You know, shout out to Runic Stun. But yeah, Bestials are amazing. They're also like the best extenders in the entire deck. Like I said, they make Chessy Cat one card combo. So I think you got to be playing these. I think bare minimum should be 5. I originally had only 3 when I played and won the locals on Tuesday, but that was just incorrect. I think these are so much better than like trying to run like Imperm and Nibiru and stuff, which I did not play. I think these are just, they're good. They're engine, they're non-engine. I'm worried they're gonna get hit, but you know, what can you do? Obviously, we're playing 3 Ash Blossom since there's no Hita in the format to steal anything, and it covers so many bases, it negates Charmies. You can use it at high impact times. Worst case, you just use it to negate the effect of a duo drive to limit your Ryzeal opponent's inboard. A lot of the time I ended up siding out 1, 2, or all 3, depending on just the situation, like usually going second. You know, you kind of have to like think about like what you're playing against and what you have in your sideboard and like what card. Like this is a good card, but you know, sometimes you just got a card in your side deck that, you know, just wins you the game if you resolve it. So, you know, do you want to play a good card or do you want to win? Then 3 Metal Tronus. This card's crazy. I only had 1 go when I played at the locals the other day, and I didn't play it because there's no reason to. I then like cracked open my entry pack that I got for Legacy of Destruction, and I opened this, and then shout out to my boy Andy for selling me the 3rd one. I would not have topped, I don't think, without this card. This card I think is mandatory. I think it is. I might like go out and say I think this is like the best non-engine like card in the whole format. Maybe like I don't know. Maybe that's crazy, but I think this card's worth more than like Charmies, just because like, you know, you Charmy your opponent and they go into a Ryzeal Detonator anyway, and they give you like 1 or 2 draws. You activate this card and you banish the Detonator and you win the game. That's just how I see it. And also like low key, they can act as almost like extenders for yourself too. Like I had an instance where it's like you negate a card like a Spirit Dragon or something and you summon out I guess it'd be like a Bestial, right? Or even like my opponent spheres me and like went into a Magnemite. I chained this to the activation so it didn't get its search effect, and then I summoned a Druid Swarm. So I had a body on the board, and then when it went to the grave, it sent their one of their special summon monsters on the field. So this card, so many applications, it's crazy. If you don't have it, you gotta play it. I'm just saying. Called by the Grave because a lot of cards this deck doesn't like, and this helps you not lose to them. And it's also just a crazy interruption to set if you draw it going first and don't need it. And then the other reason to play this deck is Triple Impulse, because this card's wild. The amount of times I went like Shifter, and then my opponent had 1 play to try to set up a board, and I activated this and just kind of won on the spot. Apologies to the 2 Mermail players who I drew Shifter against in every single game, and then I think almost every single time I then followed up by activating this on their, I think it's like the Abyss Shrine. It's like the mermaid one that they use to like summon like the Coelacanth out of deck. And I've let that resolve before, and that was a massive mistake on my part. So you always negate that. So yeah, I swear I don't know how to stack my deck. Sometimes these cards are just glued to my hand, but yeah, they're crazy. A lot of fun was had by me, and maybe not for my opponents in those situations, but what can you do? Then for the extra deck, so that was a 40 card main deck. Extra deck, standard, 1 of each name. Low key, and I was talking to my boy Wesley about this. I almost feel like you could cut the Red Ransom, but then again, I don't necessarily have a better card to put in for it, and I think there are better cuts that you can make. I do think there's an argument that could be made to play 2 Whitebinder, especially because I don't think you need to, I think there's like probably like 2 or 3 flex spots in here, and I would arguably, if I'm playing this deck again, I would cut 1 card that I'll show you in a second, and maybe put a second Whitebinder in there, just because you don't want this to get Unicorn Ripped. You don't want this to get striked or judgmented when you summon it, because then it's just hanging out in the graveyard and it's not properly summoned, so you can't bring it back or anything. But yeah, also Heartscriptor. Heartscriptor Pass was my most common inboard all day. And it wasn't like these like big combos where it's like, oh, you go into the heart of the white binder and then you like summon stuff back and then you go into this. It was usually just summon 4. I have 3 names or 2 names in a bestial, or a name, a link decoder and a bestial, or whatever, or name, a lingeribo and a bestial, whatever, and just passing on this, because it turns out having 1 to 2 non-target banishes between this and the trap is just like kind of an OTK sometimes. So, and this card is like even better than Axis Code at winning games in the battle phase, because especially if you've activated Dormouse's effect, this is like really nice and beefy. You get in damage, you banish itself, bring it back, and then you attack for game. It's completely broken. It's a great card. I remember like when this came out, like a lot of decks were like, they're going into this first and then this, and then you're going into all this nonsense. Like, no, in real life, like forget all that combo stuff. Heart's Cryptor is where it's at. And then pretty standard stuff, Link Spider. Some people say don't play this, but like I feel like the way I play the deck, where you're playing under nib a lot of the time, but in the cases where you can get nibbed, you just turn the nib token into this, and then you can like go into a Splash Mage and try to go into like a Heart's Cryptor or something. Or you can just like end on Firewall once you bring like your white binder back after you like get it off the trap banish. But in either case, I like this. Standard stuff, Haggard, Splash Mage, Dark. Haggard, I think the only time I ever used this card, I think I only used it once or twice the whole event, which is, again, is crazy. It's like all the combo videos, this is in every single one. I don't think you need this. Like, you could almost take, I wouldn't say take it out, because there is some really good utility from it. That being said, I think every time I actually tried to use this, I ended up getting nibbed. So don't be like me. Be a better player. Play around nib. Shout out to Caspian for nibbing me and beating me. Splash Mage, utility card. You gotta play your Prismatic Ultimate Rare Dark Charmer, because that's the best rarity. And it actually never came up for me, because somehow I never played a mirror match, but in the mirror match this is broken. Or if your opponent plays Bestials, you can summon back a Magnemud or like a Drill Swarm and it's broken. Just a nice extender and a really good utility piece. It did not come up in the event, but it came up in testing a lot, so I think it's a must-have. Nightmare Cerberus, it gets rid of Chaos Hunter, and it is also a Metaltronus target for Ether Barrel. So I like it. And any chance to play the OG, like, Link Monster, like, broken cards, always fun. SP, because it's SP. Firewall Dragon, because this is like your best end piece. Although I think crazy enough, this is like the quote-unquote like low ceiling inboard piece, and I think I only ended on it once or twice, and I got nibbed. It was actually funny. I played this one game against Memento where they double Charmied me, and I was just like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna like combo through, and if they break my board, they break my board. Like, I guess they're just better than me. This was game 1. They like Meowsed and Fualosed me, so I mean, shout out to them for setting up so well against my deck. But I just ended on this with like White Binder or Heart's Cryptor or whatever in the graveyard, and I think MTP07 set and like Metaltronus set, and then they nibbed me, so I didn't even have this on board, and they drew like so many cards off my combo that they actually had to put some back, which I've never seen happen before, but it did indeed happen. It's crazy. And then I think I just like I Metaltronus their Dark Blade by summoning SP, I think is what happened. And then I MTP07 randomly banished something, and I think either Heart's Cryptor or White Binder banished something, and then I think I had a Bestial on top of it. So you know what? Sometimes Malice players, like, they're just better. What can I say? Sometimes you just sack them. Anyway, Axis Code, because it's Axis Code. It's kind of broken in this deck. I don't think I even made it yesterday, though. Like I said, Heart's Cryptor is low-key the better OTK, like, enabler, and it lets you play under nib really well. So, don't play a Bow. A Bow's bait. I think she's like a glorified Saryuja. I don't know. I told my friends not to play this with like Griffin and all that, and I don't know, some of them didn't listen to me, and they didn't do as well as me, so I'm just saying. I basically only played her as a Metaltronus target, or situationally I thought she might come up if I'm playing like Crystron and they've got that like continuous trap that says your opponent can't banish cards, which is super annoying. So she's like, along with Axis Code Talker, is my only like out to that card. But unlike Axis Code, she's a quick effect. So like, whereas Axis Code, they might be able to like banish or pop it or something in between its summon effect and its, you know, ignition pop effect. This you can just summon and immediately pop that trap. But yeah, aside from that and other like floodgates or whatever, or maybe summoning like a Magna Mode or something in the grind game, if it ever comes up. But I don't know. I feel like if you have the material to make her, you're already in a winning position. So I think you could very high key just cut this card, and actually maybe just should cut this card. Definitely cut Griffin. That card's dumb. Like, I don't know why you play that. They used to play that like an Unchained and end on that plus like Kaisar or something, and it's like not even good. Like, that's not even the best end board you could make back then, let alone now with that deck. So why are we like in a good meta deck like MALISS ending on that? It makes no sense to me. But yeah, I think Abow's like kind of super overrated. Especially if you don't want to spend like $30-$40 on her, just don't play it. Play a second White Binder instead. And then shout out to my boy Ryzeal Detonator for banishing all of my Ryzeal opponents' monsters face down all day. That was really fun. Then let's see, for the side deck, I got the Secret Goo tech card right here. 3 Light Imprisoning Mirrors. I was going through my bulk the other day and I was like, whoa, this card be like kind of broken because it hits the Ryzeal stuff, it hits the Fiendsmith stuff, it hits the Blue Eyes stuff. Like, it's not like perfect because like there are ways to like out it, but it hurts your opponent so bad. It's just a skill drain that only affects them. And I will say, every time I flipped this up, and I think it was like 3 or 4 games yesterday, every time I flipped it up, I won the game. So I think this card's broken. And yeah, you should definitely give it a try. Another reason to play a deck like MALISS that's like 99% darks. Just because like this card doesn't hurt you except like in case you want Firewall for some reason. But let's be real, if you're flipping this card face up, you don't need Firewall to win the game. Then obviously Lancia for the mirror match, or for Christian, or like Branded, or Ritual Beast, whatever. But crazy enough, I didn't play a single mirror or a single match against any of them, so it never came up, but you still gotta. Triple Perulia, because like Perulia's a really, really good card, especially if you're trying to draw into like really powerful non-engine. You know, when you've got stuff like the Bestials, like Metaltronus, like Ultimate Slayer I have in my side deck. Like Impulse, all these cards that can be so high impact. Just getting 1 or 2 draws to see those cards, or to see engine, or to even sometimes you just draw like one of the MALISS traps and it helps you play through boards. It didn't come up too many times. I think I did like Shifter on res, Perulia'd my opponent, and they passed. Who knows if they would have tried to summon in the first place, but you know, I was able to OTK them afterwards either way, so I still like it. Plus I don't know, I like the art on it, so I love a chance to play it. And then I played 2 Droll, just for like rogue decks. This is like auto makes White Forest pass, which is crazy. And it also just really hurts. Oh yeah, Perulia is also amazing against White Forest. But yeah, Droll just hurts a lot of rogue decks. I also wanted something else for like Mermail to draw, just because that can be a very tough deck to beat if you're going second. You know, fortunately, I just opened Shifter Impulse in like all of my games. So, you know, sometimes you're just better. What can I say? But I like the theory of why I played this. Even though it does conflict with Shifter and Dominus Impulse, I figured if I'm drawing Shifter plus Droll, I'm probably already winning with Shifter. So it's just a dead card. Who cares? You could always just normal summon it if you're able to like special summon like one of your mouse things off the field spell or allure or whatever, and link climb, so not the worst thing. And then finally, I played the Ultimate Slayer package, which funny enough never came up once for me in the entire event, but you know, what can you do? It's an amazing card in theory, and yeah, it's kind of funny. A lot of my extra deck never came up. The only card that came up consistently was Light Imprisoning Mirror. But again, just the main deck and all the powerful non-engine, and I just think the the engine cards and pseudo engine cards, like the Bestials and whatnot I was playing, really carried the day for me. Yeah, I guess, you know, I'm not gonna like show you like a normal like combo because everybody has seen that and nobody wants to see like any of these like bait combos that never resolve in real life, that like put up like a million disruptions. Those aren't real. But I will show, because this was a little unintuitive for me picking up the deck, like trying to figure out what is your best line through shifter, and this is what I ended on every time. And like I said, every time I did this, I won the game. So let me give a little space here. So yeah, let's say you're going first, you draw these two, you activate shifter, normal summon Dormouse, go Dormouse effect, banish White Rabbit, come back, you set the MTP07 trap. That is going to be searching your follow-up and non-target banishing on your opponent's turn, which is all you need to win the game. Then you're going to just link off with like a Lingaribo, I guess, playing around something like Impulse or something. I don't know. Otherwise, you're just saving your Link Decoder for a future turn. But summon back Dormouse. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on 5th summon, you go into, let's see, where are my cards here? Go into Heart's Cryptor, and then I guess if they nib you, this goes to the grave and then comes back with double the attack. And then you know, I guess, you know, what can you do then? But otherwise, the other thing, you know, sometimes there's hands where it's like you have like this plus a Bestial and you just end on her. You always anyway end up on summon 4 or 5 on this card. Sometimes you just summon out each name in succession, or you summon out 2 names and then you Bestial your shifter away. Which, funny enough, I did double shifter my opponent a lot of games because I just banished this, and then on turn 3 I just dropped a second shifter, and again, every time I did that I won. But yeah, and this being your end board on summon 4 or 5 under shifter is totally broken. I mean, just 2 non-target banishes, follow-up, you'll have 2 names in the in the banished, and then 4 cards in hand, 3 or 4 cards in hand to further disrupt your opponent or act as follow-up. So yeah, I think that this is my personal combo tutorial, and it's super basic, but this is the stuff I love. These are the kind of decks and ways of playing that I really love in this game, where you just keep it nice and simple, low to the ground, and do just enough to win, and not too much so that you lose or run out of resources for no reason. Because, like, let's be honest, if you're dropping shifter and you have 1 or 2 disruptions, you don't need to do like any like crazy boards or anything. That should be enough to win each time. So yeah, that was my deck profile. Shout out to my all the boys who helped me test for the event in the last week. Shout out to Andy for giving me that Metaltronus. Shout out to Justin for driving me to locals and stuff. Shout out to Wesley for playing mirror matches with me the day before the event, and everybody else that played. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anybody's interested in more videos or anything, any of my amateur theory on this, I'm happy to make more videos. And otherwise, you should just like go watch actually good players, you know, play this deck. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and hope you guys have a great day.